Welcome to Book Nibbles. Big ideas, small bites. Project Hail Mary, a 2021 science fiction novel by Andy Weir, the author best known for The Martian, is a sweeping blend of hard science, survival narrative, and deeply human storytelling. Weir takes his signature style, where technical problem-solving becomes as thrilling as high-stakes drama, and pushes it to new frontiers by pairing meticulous scientific puzzles with an unexpected tale of friendship across species. The novel follows Ryland Grace, a reluctant scientist turned interstellar castaway, as he awakens alone on a spaceship with no memory of his mission, only to discover that he is humanity's last hope in the face of a cosmic catastrophe. What unfolds is not only a gripping journey of discovery and sacrifice, but also a touching meditation on cooperation, loyalty, and the resilience of life even in the cold vastness of space. Ryland Grace wakes up in a haze, surrounded by sterile white walls, robotic arms, and machinery humming softly. His throat burns, his muscles ache, and his head feels as if it has been stuffed with cotton. Tubes are stuck into him, nourishing his body, and his limbs are so weak he can barely move. He doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know where he is. When he looks around, he sees two other people in beds nearby, but their bodies are still, lifeless, clearly long dead. He is the only one alive in this strange place. The robotic arms speak in a calm machine voice, asking diagnostic questions. It asks simple math problems. He can't answer at first, his mind too foggy, but then suddenly, without even knowing why, he blurts out a scientific fact about joules and energy. His brain seems to know science deeply, reflexively. He can't remember his name, his past, or his purpose, but when asked about physics or biology, the answers flow out of him like second nature. Slowly, with the fog lifting day by day, he pieces together his environment. He is not in a hospital. He is in a spaceship. And his two crewmates are dead. Exploring cautiously, still shaky on his feet, he wanders through the ship. The vessel is massive compared to what he thought space capsules looked like. It's equipped with laboratories, food supplies, instruments, and a propulsion system that seems unlike anything he's seen before. His memories return in fragments, flashbacks breaking through at random. He recalls classrooms, chalkboards, children's laughter, a teaching job. But then he remembers something darker, larger. A crisis back on Earth. A woman named Dr. Eva Stratt, with a stern demeanor and absolute authority, recruiting him for something monumental. And slowly, painfully, it comes back. He is part of a desperate mission to save humanity. The mission had its roots in catastrophe. Earth scientists noticed an unexplained drop in solar output. The sun was dimming, just slightly, but enough to predict devastating long-term consequences. Crops would fail. Climate patterns would shift. An ice age loomed within decades. Humanity's time was running out. The culprit, after frantic investigation, was identified: astrophage. A single-celled organism unlike anything on Earth. It absorbed stellar energy with incredible efficiency, storing it in ways that defied imagination, and it emitted infrared light to propel itself. Billions upon billions of these microbes were siphoning energy from the sun, flying in streams between stars as if migrating across interstellar highways. Earth's very life source was being drained. Nations panicked. Scientists scrambled. And Eva Stratt was appointed to lead the global response, given near unlimited power to mobilize the planet's resources. Stratt was a force of nature, blunt, uncompromising, and immune to politics. She drafted experts from every corner of science and industry. Among them was Ryland Grace, a former microbiologist whose career had collapsed after publishing controversial papers claiming life didn't always need water. Ostracized from academia, he had retreated into the quiet life of a middle school science teacher in California. He never wanted to return to high-stakes research. But Stratt didn't care what he wanted. She needed his expertise in microbiology and extremophile organisms. She recruited him, or rather coerced him, back into the scientific fold. Back in the present, Grace explores the ship's databases and systems, regaining fragments of memory about the mission. The spacecraft he's aboard is called the Hail Mary. It was built as humanity's last hope. Its propulsion runs on astrophage itself, because despite being Earth's doom, it also serves as the most powerful fuel imaginable. A single cell stores enough energy to be visible to the naked eye. The ship carries enormous reserves, caged carefully in containment tanks, glowing faintly like embers. The target star is Tau Ceti, about 12 light-years away. Observations showed that Tau Ceti had no solar dimming, despite lying in the path of the astrophage migration stream. That meant Tau Ceti's system had something Earth desperately needed: a natural solution, a predator, a defense, something keeping the astrophage population in check. The Hail Mary mission was to investigate Tau Ceti, discover the mechanism, and transmit the knowledge back to Earth so humanity could replicate it. The mission was one way; no return journey was possible. It was designed as a suicide mission for the crew, who had volunteered for the greater good. But Grace had not volunteered. That memory cuts deep when it returns. He had helped design experiments, trained astronauts, and prepared protocols, but he had refused to fly. He never wanted to die in space. He was a teacher, not a martyr. Yet Strat, in her ruthless practicality, arranged for him to end up aboard. When the mission launched, unforeseen circumstances, crew members' deaths, illnesses, accidents, left him as the only viable candidate. And so here he is, alive when the others are not, forced into the role of humanity's sole chance. He despairs. At first, the loneliness crushes him. He eats pre-packaged meals, talks to himself, and tries not to think about the billions depending on him. But then, while observing Tau Ceti, he notices something extraordinary: another spacecraft. He cannot believe it. Another star system, another species, facing the same problem? It seems impossible, but there it is, an alien ship. Contact is awkward, terrifying, and exhilarating. The alien vessel approaches, and eventually, after tentative maneuvers, the two beings communicate through cautious exchanges. The alien is not human-like. He is a rock-like, spider-shaped being with multiple limbs, living in an atmosphere of ammonia at high pressure. He doesn't see with eyes but with sonar, echolocating his environment. Grace names him Rocky, because of his exoskeleton-like body. Rocky, too, is the lone survivor of his ship's crew, his people, Iridians from the star system 40 Eridani, also facing doom from astrophage. The first barrier is communication. Grace and Rocky cannot breathe the same air, cannot enter each other's environments. They create a sealed meeting chamber between their ships, separated by walls but able to see and hear through clever modifications. They invent a shared language through sound tones and associations, mapping words painstakingly. Rocky's intelligence and engineering genius astonish Grace. Grace's microbiology skills astonish Rocky. Slowly, trust forms, then friendship. Together, they study the Tau Ceti system. They discover the culprit limiting astrophage growth, a microscopic predator they dub Tomiba. These microbes consume astrophage, keeping its numbers low enough that Tau Ceti's star remains bright. If they can adapt Tomiba to Earth's conditions, humanity will be saved. If they can adapt it to Eridani conditions, Rocky's people will be saved. The challenge is immense. Tomiba thrives in Tau Ceti's environment, but Earth's sun and Erid's star emit different spectra of light. The microbes die when transplanted. Grace uses his biology expertise to breed new strains, forcing mutations and running countless trials. Rocky designs containment chambers and precise monitoring systems. They spend months together, working like lab partners. Grace teaches Rocky jokes, and Rocky, literal-minded and practical, learns to laugh in his own way. The loneliness that once haunted Grace disappears. He has a friend. But disaster looms. Tomiba leaks into their fuel reserves, infecting the astrophage stores. The fuel necessary for propulsion is consumed, threatening the mission. Without it, neither ship can return home. Rocky's ship suffers even worse damage. The mission teeters on the edge of failure. Grace faces a terrible choice. He can save Earth, or he can save Rocky. There isn't enough time or fuel for both. For the first time, though, Grace feels a sense of purpose beyond obligation. He chooses to save his friend. He devises a method to clean Rocky's ship of infection, sacrificing his own chances of returning to Earth. He knows humanity might never hear of Tomiba. Billions may die. But he cannot abandon the being who stood beside him, who became his partner. He accepts death. But Rocky does not let him die. With Iridian ingenuity, Rocky rescues Grace, towing him back to Erid. When Grace wakes, he is in an alien city, under crushing pressure, breathing through a carefully constructed human-safe environment, surrounded by spider-like beings who treat him with reverence. He saved them. They saved him. He will never see Earth again. He doesn't know if humanity survived, if his sacrifice was in vain. But in his heart, he knows he did the right thing. He became more than a reluctant scientist. He became a friend, a savior, and a teacher once again, this time to an alien world. The story is as much about science as it is about connection. Andy Weir fills it with rigorous detail, calculations of light years, experiments with centrifuges, biological mutation cycles, and propulsion physics. But the heart of the story is Grace's transformation. From bitter, reluctant teacher to lonely survivor, to loyal friend willing to give his life for another species. It's about the triumph of cooperation in the face of extinction. And it ends with a bittersweet yet hopeful image. Ryland Grace, once a middle school teacher scorned by his peers, now teaching aliens about humanity, living proof that compassion and ingenuity can bridge even the most infinite distances. And that's it. Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Thanks for listening to Book Nibbles. If you enjoyed this bite-sized book, don't forget to subscribe for more quick, insightful summaries. See you in the next nibble.